There's a place on this earth where you can stand in a desert so dry it hasn't seen rain in months, drive 2 hours north, and suddenly find yourself beneath trees so tall they make you feel like an ant. A place where someone is surfing at dawn while just a few hundred miles away, someone else is closing $1 billion deal in a glass tower. A place where the ocean meets the mountains, the past meets the future, and dreams sometimes actually come true. That place is California. One state, nearly 164,000 square miles, 40 million people. And somehow, impossibly, it contains more worlds inside it than most countries do within their entire borders. This isn't a travel commercial. This is an attempt to understand what California actually is, not the postcard version, not the Hollywood version, but the real thing. The beautiful, complicated, breathtaking, contradictory thing. So let's go. Let's start where most people imagine when they hear the word California. Let's start with Los Angeles. If there's one city on Earth that runs entirely on ambition, it's Los Angeles. Every year, hundreds of thousands of people arrive here carrying a version of the same dream, an acting role, a record deal, a startup idea, a fresh start. And the city absorbs all of them, silently, without judgment, without promises. Los Angeles is the second largest city in the United States, home to nearly 4 million people within the city limits alone, and over 13 million if you count the full metropolitan area. But here's the thing, Los Angeles doesn't feel like a single city. It feels like 20 different neighborhoods that just happen to share the same zip codes. In Santa Monica, you wake up to the sound of waves. Morning joggers pass palm trees that line the beach like sentinels. The air smells like salt and sunscreen. But drive 30 minutes east into downtown, and the atmosphere shifts completely. Steel and glass towers rise above streets lined with food trucks, street art, and homeless encampments that stretch for city blocks. The contrast is jarring. It's real. And nobody in Los Angeles seems particularly surprised by it anymore. Hollywood, of course, is the name the whole world knows. The sign sits up on Mount Lee, looking down over the city like an old promise. The entertainment industry that surrounds it generates over $90 billion annually for the California economy. The studios, the streaming platforms, the music labels, the agencies. Los Angeles is the machine that manufactures culture for the rest of the planet. What people watch, what they listen to, what they wear, so much of it originates here, in these sun-drenched hills. But beyond the glamour, Los Angeles has a texture that most visitors never discover. Drive through Koreatown on a Saturday night and you'll find a city within a city that pulses with neon signs, karaoke bars, and restaurants where the food hasn't been adjusted for American tastes. The sun sets here like it's performing. The sky turns shades of orange and purple that seem almost artificial, painting the skyline just before darkness takes over and the city lights below begin to glow. And for a moment, in that quiet in-between, you understand why people keep coming here, why they keep dreaming here. Even when the dream is difficult, even when the city is hard. Follow the coast northward and the energy begins to change. The beaches grow rougher, the cliffs get sharper, the temperature drops a few degrees. And then, just when the highway bends around a familiar curve, you see it rising out of the morning fog like something from a painting. San Francisco. If Los Angeles runs on dreams, San Francisco runs on ideas. This is a city that has always been ahead of itself, sometimes brilliantly, sometimes painfully, but always moving forward. The gold rush of 1849 transformed a small settlement into a roaring city almost overnight. Tens of thousands of people flooded in from across the world, chasing fortune, chasing possibility. That energy never really left. San Francisco today is home to around 870,000 people packed into just 47 square miles, one of the most densely populated cities in the country. And yet somehow it doesn't feel crushing. Maybe it's the hills. Standing at the top of Twin Peaks on a clear day, the entire city spreads out before you, the bay, the bridges, Alcatraz sitting out in the water like a dark footnote to history, and the Pacific glittering somewhere beyond. The Golden Gate Bridge needs no introduction, and yet seeing it for the first time in person still stops people cold. Not because it's the largest bridge in the world, it isn't. But because of where it sits, how it rises out of the fog, how the scale of it against the open water makes the air itself feel dramatic. Built between 1933 and 1937 during the Great Depression, it remains one of the most recognized structures ever built by human hands. And then there's the fog. San Francisco's fog is almost a living thing. It rolls in from the Pacific in the late afternoon, tumbles over the hills, swallows the tops of buildings, and wraps the city in a cool gray blanket. Here's the contradiction that San Francisco carries on its back right now. It is one of the wealthiest cities in the world per capita, and at the same time, it has one of the most visible homelessness crises in the country. Tech wealth has reshaped the city dramatically over the past 2 decades. Property values, rents, and the general cost of living have climbed to levels that have pushed out longtime residents and entire communities. Walking through certain parts of the Tenderloin neighborhood, that reality is impossible to ignore. San Francisco doesn't hide its problems. That's part of what makes it interesting. It debates itself loudly, publicly, constantly. It's a city that has always been in conversation with itself about what it should be. And somehow, through all of that tension, it remains one of the most beautiful, most compelling cities in the world. Now, leave the fog behind, head south along the coast, let the sun come back full force, and feel the atmosphere loosen around you. By the time you reach San Diego, the pace of life has genuinely changed. San Diego sits in the far southwestern corner of the continental United States, closer to the Mexican border than to Los Angeles. And that geography is everything. The proximity to Tijuana has shaped this city profoundly. The food, the music, the architecture, the culture. San Diego isn't just a California city. It's a border city, and it wears that identity comfortably. The beaches here are extraordinary. Coronado, La Jolla, Mission Beach, long stretches of white sand and clear water that draw millions of visitors each year. What strikes most people about San Diego, though, is the ease of it. The weather is almost unreasonably pleasant, averaging around 70 degrees year-round, with over 260 days of sunshine annually. There's a reason people who move here often never leave. The city has a way of making life feel manageable. The traffic is lighter than Los Angeles, the neighborhoods feel human-scaled. Balboa Park sits near the heart of the city like a gift. 1,200 acres of gardens, museums, and open space, including the San Diego Zoo, which has been widely considered one of the finest zoological parks in the world for decades. Walking through it on a Sunday afternoon, surrounded by the ornate Spanish colonial revival buildings that were built for the 1915 Panama, California Exposition, it's hard not to feel a particular kind of contentment. San Diego doesn't scream for your attention the way Los Angeles does. It simply exists, confidently, beautifully, under that endlessly blue sky. And for many people, that quiet confidence is the most attractive thing about it. Turn inland, leave the ocean behind, drive northeast and watch the landscape transform. The coastal hills flatten, the air grows warmer, and the skyline ahead fills with something entirely different. San Jose. Welcome to the capital of the future. Silicon Valley, the region surrounding San Jose, has produced more world-altering technology than anywhere else on Earth. Apple, Google, Intel, Cisco, Adobe, the companies that have fundamentally changed how human beings communicate, work, shop, and understand the world. Many of them were born here or grew into giants here. The concentration of innovation, capital, and engineering talent within this relatively small geographic area is genuinely without parallel in history. San Jose itself is the largest city in the Bay Area by population, with roughly 1 million residents representing over 100 nationalities. Walking through certain neighborhoods, you'll hear Mandarin, Vietnamese, Tagalog, and Hindi before you hear English. The diversity here isn't decorative, it's structural. It's the reason the tech industry keeps generating ideas. Different minds, different perspectives, sitting in the same office buildings, looking at the same problems from entirely different angles. Walk through downtown San Jose on a weekday morning, past the cafes filled with people scribbling on laptops, past the offices where someone right now might be writing code that changes everything. There's an energy here that is different from any other city in California. It's the energy of a place that genuinely believes tomorrow will be different from today. Whether you find that exciting or exhausting probably depends on who you are. Drive north and east from the Bay Area, and California begins to reveal a side of itself that surprises people who only know the coast. Sacramento. The capital of the fifth largest economy on Earth sits at the confluence of the Sacramento and American rivers, surrounded by the flat, fertile expanse of the Central Valley. This is where the gold rush truly began. It was in the foothills east of Sacramento, along the American River, that James Marshall spotted gold at Sutter's Mill in January 1848 and changed the trajectory of the American West forever. The city that grew from that moment still carries that history in its bones. Old Sacramento, along the waterfront, preserves streets and buildings from the mid-1800s. And walking through it on a quiet morning, with the river running slow and brown nearby, you can almost feel the weight of what happened here, the tens of thousands of people who passed through, the fortunes made and lost, the way California was stitched together from chaos into something resembling a state. As a state capital, Sacramento carries its own kind of weight. The California state government employs hundreds of thousands of people, and the policy decisions made in those legislative chambers affect not just 40 million Californians, but often set trends that ripple through the entire country. California has frequently moved first on environmental regulation, on labor law, on social policy, and Sacramento is where those fights are won or lost. There's a quietness to Sacramento that catches people off guard, The pace is slower than the coast. The summers are hot, genuinely hot, sometimes over 100 degrees for days at a stretch. But there are tree-lined streets in neighborhoods like East Sacramento and Land Park that feel genuinely lovely, with craftsman bungalows and local coffee shops that have nothing to prove. Now for the final turn. Head southeast. Leave the Central Valley, pass through the San Bernardino Mountains, and then descend into the desert. The temperature climbs. The plants change, Joshua trees appear, then the landscape opens into something vast and sun-bleached and strangely beautiful. You've reached Palm Springs. There is something about the Coachella Valley that refuses to be ordinary. Ringed by mountains on three sides, the San Jacinto Peaks rising nearly 11,000 feet to the west, Palm Springs sits in a desert basin where the light is different. Sharper, cleaner, golden, in a way that photographers chase obsessively. The city became a playground for Hollywood stars in the 1940s and 1950s, when studios used to require their actors to stay within 2 hours of Los Angeles. Palm Springs was exactly that distance, and so the glamour of old Hollywood settled here and left behind an extraordinary legacy of mid-century modern architecture. The low-slung, glass-walled homes with flat roofs and clean geometric lines that were built by architects like Richard Neutra and Albert Frey haven't just survived, they've become treasured. The annual Modernism Week draws architecture enthusiasts from around the world who come to walk through homes that feel like they were designed by someone dreaming of the future. The desert blooms in unexpected ways. In spring, after a wet winter, the wildflower fields in the surrounding Anza Borrego Desert State Park transform into something almost unbelievable, carpets of color spread across land that was bare brown weeks before. Nature in the desert operates on its own schedule, and it demands patience from anyone paying attention. At night in the desert, the sky opens up. Without city light to wash it out, the Milky Way is visible, arching overhead in a way that makes you feel genuinely small, but in a good way. In a humbling, quieting, perspective-restoring way. California is not one place. It never was. It is a collection of worlds that happen to share a border, a government, and a name. And maybe that's the most California thing about it, the refusal to be just one thing, the insistence on being everything at once.